Hello, hello, hello. How are you doing, audience? Welcome to the Vett Jett Show. I am your host, Vett Jett. And when I tell you, I have a guest that I feel like I know her already, but I feel like I met her in person today. And I'm a true fan because her life is amazing. And when I tell you a powerhouse woman, when I tell you just an inspiration to Black women everywhere. And I told her my personal story. One day I'll tell my whole personal story. But for me, as a Black woman building my business, she has been a true inspiration. And I've seen her on different platforms. I said, I have to get her here so I could talk to her. And so she's here. And I'm a true fan. I'm trying not to be, but if I lose my mind sometime, I'll come back. But Shakira, welcome, 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 welcome. And she is designing with ease. And when I tell you, I just want to say once again, thank
Mhm.
you for telling your story. Thank you for being authentic and transparent. And thank you for joining the Vett Jet Show. We are happy you're here. We're so happy you're here.
And I'm so happy to be here. You're making me blush. This is fantastic.
That is so awesome. Well, you know what? I want to jump right into it. Let's jump right into this is the question.
Mhm.
I want like one or two nuggets before you get into your story, one or two nuggets that you would give women and that you would give Black women specifically. That if you had two nuggets to give them, what would be the two nuggets?
The first I would give is learn to choose yourself. I know people talk about it in theory, and I'm
Okay.
not talking about getting manicures, pedicures, and buying yourself things, but learning to choose yourself in all things, whether you're in a relationship, motherhood, at your job. When you learn to put yourself first and honor the things that feel most authentic to you and allow that to guide your life, I think that's when you are going to begin to see, not I think, that is when you are going to begin to see the results that you want.
Wow.
And that's a hard lesson and a hard pivot that I've had to learn. So choose yourself first, to put your
Mm,
own oxygen mask on first.
wow.
Um, the second I would say is learn to let go and surrender.
Mm,
Um, so a part of letting go and surrender, I've learned, is allowing things to fall by the wayside. Your
okay.
life is not going to end because there's dishes in the sink. Uh, the world is not over because your child decided to wear a tutu and cowboy boots today.
Mm,
You are not doing your own laundry and cooking all the meals yourself, and it's not the end of the world.
mm,
Just go with the flow. Let the plates fall, remove the hats, unleash the
wow.
cape, and just be.
Just be.
Just be.
Oh my, I mean, that was powerful. One, my son would so appreciate you just saying, just let the dishes be. He would so appreciate that. And it's funny because I've done that, letting go the tutu and cowboy boots with my daughter. I've let her be who she is. I told her for her 16th birthday, she can get a little tattoo on her back, right? There was been a time like, no, you ain't getting no tattoo. No, I ain't doing that. Not, I let it be. And then it's funny that you said about the cooking and the washing. Today was the big reveal that I told my boyfriend I don't like to cook. And we've been together for a long time, Shakira. And he was really shocked when I told him that. Because usually my daughter cooks when he comes over and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
he thought I was doing it like just to help her. I said, no, I hate cooking. I will mow the lawn. I will water the flowers. I will change every light bulb in the house. But if you want me to cook, I'm going to order it on DoorDash. Like, you thought I was just doing that to ball out of control? No, I don't like to cook. I don't know. It's just one of those things that makes me feel barefoot and pregnant that I just don't like to do. I'm like, why? It's hot, and I got to stand the whole time. Like, so,
And don't do it. That's what I say. Don't do it. But everyone has to choose that thing, but just
yeah,
let it go. It's not that serious. And not like you said, your children, if you are a parent or a guardian, they will appreciate it. And I remember when I learned to relinquish that because it would be a Saturday and it's 1 o'clock and my kids are still in the bed. And
wow,
before I'm like, it's 11 o'clock, get up. What are you doing? Then
yeah,
I'm thinking like, if I'm tired, I know they are tired,
exactly.
so
Exactly.
Just wake up
And
when
it's
that
funny you said that because I was just talking with someone last week and they were talking about their kids' calendar. And I'm just sitting there. There will been a time where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be like that. Oh, let me do that. Let me I sat there, I'm like, we ain't doing that. Like, as long as you go to school and as long as you take your shower, as long as you do a little bit of work, because I can guarantee you, no one has asked me what my test scores were in junior high school. They didn't ask me what my GPA was in high school. They didn't ask me what club I was a part of. Like, no one asked me that nowadays. I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm like, I'm not doing that. Like, we gonna chill a little bit because what I do know is life can be different when you get older. You could be on because what I know for sure is that when you get older, you're gonna be on the hamster wheel, right? And it's gonna be going and going and going. And you're gonna have heart palpitations because it's like all like caving in on you, right? And that leads me into what you did. So because you got off that hamster wheel, right? You was
Mhm.
like, nope, not doing it. I'm about to design with ease. So walk us through that journey because that is so, so powerful.
I'll try to sum it up, but
Okay.
really, I grew up, my mother was an entrepreneur. She owned her own hair salon. So from a very young age, I've been groomed to be this powerful, strong Black woman.
Mm,
When I was 15, my mom had a stroke. My dad at the time, I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. My dad lived in Maryland. When he heard the news, he came down. Essentially, he was supposed to get my brother and I, my younger brother and I, but the business, my mom's business was in a awry, and I was the only one at 15 that knew how to run this hair salon and knew all the components. So I
mm,
was given a choice to stay or go. So I
mm,
stayed, and for a whole year, that's my hard launch into adulthood. But I ran my mother business, took over all of her affairs, and I did that for a while. But eventually, my dad came to get me. My dad is a reverend. So it went from being like this strong entrepreneur to now I'm this preacher's kid. So I was groomed to be what many consider to be Black excellence.
okay.
That's
Yeah.
just what my route was. So I
Mm,
learned to mask, I learned to just fall in line to do those things and just some inner work that I'm doing now, just wanting to make my father proud, that
okay.
I began the process of what I call was building my own prison. I wanted to go to school to be a teacher. My dad told me I was too smart for that. So I went to school for business. I
Mm,
went into banking. I hated banking, but by the time I was 23, I was an assistant branch manager for a large bank. One
wow.
day I just quit that job. I was 6 months pregnant, married. I quit the job.
Really?
I didn't have a discussion with any I was just that miserable. I didn't have a discussion with my boss, my husband, or anything. Fast forward, I found myself 33, divorced, 4 children, on
Mm,
the edge of, like, coming off of bankruptcy, about to lose my house, just I didn't know where to start because I went from being someone's daughter to someone's wife to someone's mother, and this was my first time being on my own, but I had this house, this car, 4 children to take care of.
yes.
So that's when I became the career girl.
Mm,
Got in my career bag, and transitioned into learning and development. It started off as a volunteer trainer for Girl Scouts, and I
mm,
my experience as a volunteer to transition into learning and development. And from there, I worked for a large company, Fortune 500 company,
mm,
and I just began doing the steps, working the steps, doing everything I needed to do. So 14 years at this job, which my dad told me, you get you a job, you stay at the job,
yeah.
you retire. So
Exactly.
that's what I did. At that point, that was like my third job in my entire life. I went and I stayed. That's what I was taught to do.
Okay.
Uh, and then from there, I learned to climb the corporate ladder and then teach other people how to climb the corporate ladder. And
Okay.
view me to be the Harriet Tubman of the workplace. I found
Wow.
the crack. I know how to get through the crack. And I'm like, okay, let me coach you and teach you. So that's how I became very, like, exceptionally well at coaching and professional development, teaching people
Really?
how to navigate spaces that were not meant for them.
Mm,
But in turn, I was burning myself out. I was working with bad bosses and everything.
mm,
could not figure out like why this plan wasn't working. Whenever I thought that I reached the goalpost, it was moved again. So
Mm,
as you
mm,
mentioned, like the hamster wheel, I'm constantly
yeah.
going. So after 14 years on this job and this horrible boss, I finally decided to take a leap, and I did a whole like announcement on LinkedIn with a snapshot resume, like, hey, I'm looking for a job. And people like, that's a bold move because I was very popular and well known in my
Mm,
industry.
mm.
So with the connections that I had on LinkedIn, like people like, oh my gosh, like you are committing career suicide. Like, why would you do this?
Really?
But I was that fed up. So that was the beginning for me of just wanting to leave, because I was applying and trying to get ahead. No one was listening. It was just bad. But I
Mm,
ended up leaving that job and I got my dream job. So I doubled my salary.
wow.
I was looking for a senior manager role, but I got a director role. So I was over 16 different companies. It was a smaller company, but it was my opportunity. I
Okay.
was looking for an amazing boss, a
Okay.
black man. And it was
Yes.
the first time in a long time I
Yes.
felt seen, heard, valued. He had my back. He was giving me
Yes.
resources. I was like, this is it. Remember,
That's
I'm
it.
a career girl at this point. I
Yes.
from like bankruptcy, about to lose
Mm,
my house, like everything to now. I bought my second house, 2 stories, five
wow.
bedrooms. I had two Mercedes. Like
You
I was
did.
bad.
Use that chick. Use that chick.
I was like, oh, okay, this is what
Let's
I just
go.
through that. So I thought
Yes.
because I finally left this company, I was like, man, I
Mm,
would have still been at that company if it wasn't for that bad boss.
yeah.
This is what it means. So I just thought maybe, it was that situation. However,
Mm,
that particular boss ended up leaving for another opportunity. And
yeah.
that's all of the corporate woes came back again. So I'm like, oh, they're just like this everywhere.
Everywhere.
He was my covering in a way.
Mhm.
Not in a way, he was my covering. So when he left, all the walls began to cave back in
Yeah.
again. So
Oh,
although it was the most money I'd made in my life, I was the most unhealthiest. I was
yeah.
a shell of a person, a shell of a mother, and I was just spiraling out of control. And that's when my health began to decline. And I remember talking to my dad, and
Mm,
it was like just 6 more years, and
wow.
it was a gut wrenching cry that came from my belly to think that I would have to do that for 6
6
more years.
years. Jesus. Yeah.
So, I
Mm,
found myself sick in bed, and I was watching random YouTube videos. I took a nap, and when I woke up from my nap, it was Stephanie Perry and Rashida Dow on the TV for the Exodus
yeah.
Summit. And I just started seeing other Black folk look like teachers, just regular Black folk. That's what I call it.
Regular folks.
Regular folk. And
Yeah.
Black women that were talking about this life abroad and how much easier it
Yeah.
was.
Yes.
October 2022. And from there, I just put things in motion full speed ahead. And in June 2023, by the time I quit my job, sold my house, sold everything, 20 years worth of stuff, I downsized to 4 suitcases and I moved to Guadalajara, Mexico. And that's where I'm at
Mexico
now.
and Mexico. Oh my
That
God.
was a lot, but that is my life story in a nutshell. And that's how I got here.
Mm. And you know what? The sad part, Shakira, is that your story is not unique, right? I saw myself in a lot of your story, and I never forget. I was at a company that like I love. Do you hear me? I was in a field that I had gone to school to study. Like 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 you just don't leave that. And when I tell you, I feel like I finally like made it, right? Made it to the Mecca, right? I had the best boss that understood me. Like that, and like you said, had my back in every situation, knew my heart, knew my intent, was gonna help me and mentor me, a black man, a black man. But guess what happened? COVID hit. And when they offered him packages, he had already been there probably like 20 something years. They offered him packages, he was out. And I was like, my life is over. Because I knew that the assistant manager was coming for me. I'm like, I don't even want your job. Like we had applied for the same job, right? Like I don't even want that no more. Like I'm on to something different, you know? And once that black man left, my covering left. And they did
Mhm.
everything they could to make my life a living hell. And I ended up leaving. But like you said, what I did learn is the same way, same way other places. So it's not unique to that one situation. And I'm really believing that, like I think I hear Stephanie Perry say it a lot, that us black women are under attack in
Mhm.
so many ways. And we're I mean, honestly, we're one of the most loving, sweet people you can meet, right? I went to another organization and they would have, I would be doing the same thing as the other person, but they asked me a question about what I did. Like I just copied her. Like I didn't do nothing special. I truly copied her. Like because
Mhm.
one, she told me to copy what she's doing. So I'm like, she's senior to me. So she said, copy, I copy. I said the exact same thing. Do you not know them folks went right back to her and asked her, do we have to do this? Like, are you serious? And it wasn't something I made up. It wasn't something that I was being a maverick about. But yes, I totally understand. This is where our story splits off. I haven't moved abroad yet. I haven't moved abroad yet. I want to go to Portugal. That's where I'm thinking of going. I think I want to go to Portugal. So you're there now. You're there now. I think, did you get your residency the other day?
Yeah, so I applied for residency before moving to Guadalajara. So I did it in Atlanta
Oh, you
and they granted me
okay.
1 year.
Okay,
Um,
so tell us about that because I'm really confused on that process. Can you tell us about that?
yeah, so this is my experience. I know it's different for each country as well as each state.
Mm,
So this is specific for me applying in Atlanta to come to Mexico.
okay,
So I went to the website to schedule an appointment. I printed out the application, and on the application, they give you the different reasons that you can receive your visa or temporary residency. And
okay,
then for me, I qualified for economic sovereignty, meaning that I could show proof that I had X amount of dollars and or that I would be receiving a certain amount of income each month to sustain myself. Because
really?
the things coming in as a temporary residency is not taking jobs from locals. So I
Okay,
have to show that I can sustain myself. So I gave them all of the documents that I needed after I scheduled my appointment. I was listening to people, so I was really nervous. But as
okay,
I'm reading the documents and website, I'm like, this seems pretty simple. But other people are sharing how it was just a whole big deal. So
okay,
internally, I'm conflicted. Like, I don't feel nervous about this, but everyone else is telling me I should. So I get there to the appointment. The lady looks at my documents and she's like, come back at 1 o'clock. I don't know what's going on. So I come back at 1 o'clock and she just hands me my passport back and
uh-huh.
my my papers. And I look and the visa's in there. And I'm like, this is it? She's like, yeah. So I'm like,
Really?
okay. That was like, just trust your gut. But I'm like, it's not as hard as
Mhm.
others' experience was. Mine was straightforward.
Okay,
So once I received my visa, you have 6 months to report to Mexico from that time.
really?
So when I arrived to Mexico, when you're coming in the country, it's a specific stamp that you're supposed to get, which gives you 30 days to let the government know that you are in the country. So that's the
Okay,
Canje process. And once you're in the country, you pay your fees or whatever to for your residency card. And that's when you receive your green card. How
okay.
I arrived initially, I went through the tourist line with my children because they were not residents yet.
Okay.
So it stamped me for 180 days instead of the 30 days. So
Oh,
because of that, I had to leave out of the country and come back to get the 30-day stamp and
okay.
then complete my process. So that initially gave me just 1 year temporary residency in the country.
Got
Um,
it.
so what I did recently was renew. And when you renew to say, I'm leaving
Mhm.
or I want to stay here another 1, 2, or 3 years. So I renewed for 3 years. So now I have a 3 year temporary residency. And then at the end of the 3 year, which will make a total of 4 years in Mexico, I will apply to become a permanent resident.
That is, and I don't know how to do the noise. Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yay, congratulations. And I've always wondered about that process. So if this is too personal, you say that that's none of your business. With the kids, did you want them to get residency?
Yes, that initially that was the plan. So I was nervous about doing it in Atlanta. So I could have applied for it in Atlanta.
Okay.
Because it tells you, this is how much money you need or how much money you need to make based on your family size and the number of people.
Okay.
Um, so, but I didn't. And the reason, because it was easier and more cost efficient for me to become a resident. And once I become a resident, a spouse or children automatically are granted residency. So
Really?
I just did it for myself. And then once we got to the country, I was going to apply for my children.
Got you. Okay. So it's not as hard in your case, right? It's not as hard as, well, I think it is, right? I can't speak for all of
Yeah.
everyone, but I always think it's like so hard. And Stephanie was explaining this on her video that you don't give up your citizenship. Like you're not renouncing your citizenship, or you're not saying I can never go back. It's just like I'm temporarily somewhere else, and
Hmm.
this is why, and this is the reason. Okay, so how are you liking it? How do you feel?
I feel amazing. Oftentimes, when I'm doing something as simple as just walking to the store, I just I have a overwhelming sense of gratitude, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is my life. Like I am at peace with my decision. I always tell people I forget that I'm in Mexico sometimes because
Really?
I'm in my house. I'm find my little bubble. I have my friends. I have a sense of
Mm,
community. I have a routine, and I sometimes I remember when I hear the language or music. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in Mexico.
you're in Mexico. That is so cool.
I feel at peace. I'm so glad I made this decision when I made it.
Really? Oh my, that sounds so much fun. So how did you get your community? Like, did you get it through like a Facebook group? How did you find your people, your peeps?
Well, I joined the Facebook groups. I know people are sometimes anti-Facebook, which I was. I was only on Facebook just because I had
Mm,
it for so long and, people for a very long time.
okay.
However, in the international community, WhatsApp and Facebook groups is where you will find a lot of information
Really? Okay.
about the Facebook groups, and I just searched anybody, Black in Portugal, Black
Mm,
in Mexico, Black in Brazil, wherever you want to go, just search that for your Facebook groups, and a number of groups will come up.
really?
And that's how I found my community. So I joined the groups and just began to look at the pictures, the events, the questions, just the conversations that were going on. You can ask questions, search for questions, and see the different responses. So when I began to inquire about certain things, I
Okay.
would just type it in. So whether I needed rental when I wanted to start looking like what area I should go in,
Really?
in Guadalajara, rentals here, and it
Oh,
people, yeah, so those are all like dedicated Facebook groups where you can get a lot of information.
oh,
So
I just looked it up and I see blacks in Portugal, and I
yeah,
didn't know.
so this way is you're drilling down. Like it wasn't enough for me to find other expats or immigrants, however people
Oh,
in Mexico. That wasn't enough. I was looking more specifically for other Black experiences in my neighborhood. That's the
okay.
lens that I was most interested in. And that's
Wow.
in finding people and then meeting people that um, I chose. Let me tell you my strategy.
Okay.
Chose to befriend the people that had been here a long time,
Okay.
or people that had spouses or children here because I knew that they were not going to leave. That was a lesson learned when just coming abroad. A lot of people are moving through. Some people are nomads. Some people are just there temporarily. Like if you come in on, especially for Mexico, you come in on a temporary visa. Sometimes people are there for 6 months or a year.
Mhm.
I was looking to friend people that were there for long time.
Okay.
I want to know about my Mexican social security number. Am I filing taxes? Tell me about the politics. How do I open a bank account? Like that's the type of
Mm,
information that I wanted. So a person that's coming through temporarily, they may or may not have that. So I was very strategic in the groups. I looked for a very long time, just try to pick up on character, personality, knowledge. And those are
okay.
the people that when I did my scouting trip that I reached out to personally to make sure that I connect.
Mhm.
And
So
those
how,
have budding friendships. Yeah.
really? So how many scouting trips did you do?
I did one. And the only reason I did that is because my friend convinced me. But I knew I was coming. Like it didn't
Really?
I was locked in. It was no change in my mind. When I sold my dining room table and I walked through my house and I didn't have a place to eat, I already knew that was it. Like,
Really?
so yeah. So
Wow.
every year for my birthday, I usually take an international trip. And that year I was planning to go to Ireland.
Okay.
And my friend was like, "Do you think it would be better served for you to go and visit the place that you're moving?" I'm like, "It doesn't matter. I'm moving there anyway." So she really had a heart to heart where, like she said, come to Jesus meeting with me. And I said, "Okay, let me go." And
Really?
I did. But I had a very specific list. And I also worked with a relocation service.
Okay.
And a lot of the questions that I had a conversation with this person for 30 minutes, and they sent me a 5-page itinerary with links and connected me with appointments with people to answer all of my questions. So things that I had been researching for months, she was able to sum up for me in 30 minutes. So that for me is designing ease, right? I'm going to pay for the convenience and knowledge of someone else. So she did that. And that was also the reminder for me to, I don't have to do it myself. I don't
Oh,
have to do it
yeah.
myself.
Yeah. Wow.
I can working hard to pay somebody else to do it. That's what I'm gonna do.
That's it.
That's what
Oh,
that's what she did. So with the combination, I used the combination of those two to
okay.
map out my plan.
Really? So why Guadalajara? Out of all the places, why there?
Well, I knew that I wanted to come to Mexico, but I did not want to go to a touristy place. But I
Okay.
needed somewhere that would allow me to speak English as I learned Spanish.
Okay.
I wanted something that was easy for me to get around, whether it was walkability, being able to ride a bicycle or public transportation. That was important. So when I learned of Guadalajara, and it's the second largest city in Mexico, it's
Mhm.
established. So
Okay.
the infrastructure is there. With me working remotely or online, I did not have to worry about connectivity. So I see
Okay.
a lot of people in beautiful places, but they're like their internet is out or their power goes out randomly. That's not ease, and that doesn't seem attractive to me.
That's not ease.
Your rent is $350. Like it doesn't matter.
You need a roommate. You need three other roommates. We can split that.
I see
What?
that a lot. People like, oh, it's so this and that, but you don't have water, electricity, or something. Like, no, I'm not
Mhm.
about that life. You have to know. Some
Mhm.
people are built for that. I'm not built for that. So I have to
Okay.
be true to myself. I'm not going to abandon me. Again, going
Okay.
back to the beginning, put me first. I'm not going to abandon me for that. So I'm
Mhm.
like, no, where can I
Don't.
get electricity 100% of the time, water 100%,
Yeah.
water,
The
hot water 100% of I get internet. And then, boycotting winter. Where can I go where the climate is nice?
that's yeah.
Um, and then where else can I go that have a variety of activities?
Okay.
And then the other, I had many factors. So
Okay.
one part I checked a lot. And another was getting to the airport because some places
Okay.
people move to, but it's like an hour to the airport, or you got to catch a ferry. Where can I get to the airport in 30 minutes, right?
Mm.
So Guadalajara I can have a direct connection from Atlanta to Guadalajara, 3.5 hours direct flights. So all of those things were very important to me.
Really? Okay.
Get back and forth. So that's why I chose
Nice.
Guadalajara.
Girl, you better do that thing. You did. I can see the learning and development all over you. Because you be like, "Look, I got a syllabus for you. Hold on, let me write this out. I got the outline and I got the bullet points to match. Hold on.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's that trainer. She got that thing right. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. So you're there in Guadalajara. What is the best thing? What's the best thing you've experienced since being there?
The best thing
The
that I
laundry service?
Well, those are like all of the bells and whistles. The best thing that I would say, and I brag about this,
Mm, okay.
I don't set an alarm clock. I just wake up when the Lord wake me up. And if
When it-
I wake up and I feel like I need more sleep, I go back to sleep. If I wake up and it's super early and it's something I want to do, then I do it. So for me, that has been like the biggest thing ever. I don't. It's so underrated. I
No,
wake up whenever God wake me up.
won't he do it? Won't he do it?
So that is, I don't know, that's like been but it's so many other things. So yes, I have a laundry service.
Mhm.
Yes, I have a housekeeper. Yes, I use meal prep service. My tutor just left. I have a Spanish teacher that comes to my house.
Wow.
So she just left. The person that does my pedicure comes to my house. Like, all of those are like bells and whistles.
Nice.
This is I think the best thing is me learning
Okay.
to live slowly
Mm, I
and really
like that.
that. Yeah.
And you know what, Shakira, I think that's my biggest dream of everything is to wake up when I want to. And
Mhm.
I don't want to just do it on Saturday or Sunday. I want to do it on Monday. And I
Mhm.
want to do it on Wednesday. And I want to do it just because I want to do it. And like I want it while I'm young to
Yes.
enjoy it. I don't want to be old. Like I don't want to be old. I don't want to be, in my later years, right, when I'm tired and I done grind it out. So now I can sit down. I'm like, no, I want to sit down now. Like I worked since I was 16. And I know I'm only 46. I don't care. I just want to sit down. Like, you go
Exactly.
sit down somewhere. I just want somebody go sit down somewhere. I just want to sit there and not have to struggle while I sit down. Does that make sense?
That is my life, and for me, that has been the biggest blessing, and I was thinking about that. I work as a consultant, and, I choose my hours. So I tell them, like, I don't work on Mondays. If I come
Mhm.
Monday, it's because it's something I need to do or I'm setting something up, but I just choose not to work on a Monday. That's just my day. I just don't wanna work on
Mhm.
Monday, so I
I work
don't
on
work on
Mondays.
Monday.
I don't want to work on Mondays and Fridays. I don't want to work Friday, Saturday. It just sounds like that. You know that meme: Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I don't want to work on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. I don't want to work on those days. I feel like
And
I
that's
should be off 4 days.
And that's the beauty. Right now, I work on average 2.5 to 3 days a week,
Mm,
unless it's like a big project or something that I know I need to ramp up. But then that's only temporary for me to do that.
right.
But I work like a solid 3 days, and I had to check in with the client today. And it's like, "You've been really quiet," and I'm like, "Yeah." And I billed them for 10 hours. That was it. That's all I did. But
Wow,
even in me billing them for 10 hours, that's a month of rent.
really?
That's my rent. I work 10 hours and I've paid my rent. So me waking up whenever I want to wake up and just leisurely,
Mhm.
working 10 hours in the States,
Girl,
be on the street,
you
like,
you
and
like,
that's
like, Mom, we hungry.
the salary, which is the catch 22 is the salary. You think you're doing it, they gonna get their money out of you
They gonna
salary.
pile it on. And I heard someone say one time I was in a meeting with someone. They said, "Oh, we don't want anyone sitting around." I'm like, "Why wouldn't sit? Somebody need to sit down. So why are you filling up everybody's calendar? Somebody need to just sit down, just for a minute. Just y'all just sit down and chill out." But that's not the way it works. Okay, so you work over there. So, if someone was like me, right, we're gonna use me because no one else is asking. So ask me. If I would I try to find a job before I went that would let me work remotely or find something there. Because there's contracting companies like Deloitte or Accenture, they are over there, right? Would I find something before I left or find something when I get there?
I think it would just depend on the country and the requirements for the
Okay.
country, because
Uh-huh.
that's going to vary, whether or not you can work from that country. So
Oh, Oh,
although I am a temporary resident, um, I don't know. I haven't tried, but I don't think that I could get a Mexican job. Like, which
okay.
which sounds so cliche after the whole election debate or whatever. But
Like, no.
I cannot right. Like, let me
We
clean
in
that
some
up.
crazy times, aren't we? We in some real crazy times. This
Right.
is crazy.
Oh gosh. But I cannot go to uh, a Mexican company and apply for work
Okay.
unless they were an international company specifically marketed that way.
Got it.
I could not go into a local business and say, I would like to work here. The
Really?
other part about that is there are some, like I have people that are friends that are teachers, right? And
Okay.
they get paid a Mexican salary.
Oh, okay. That's different.
I get paid, my clients are in the States. I get paid in US dollars and I get paid US rates.
Mm,
So that even though it's less, like with some of the rates with some of my clients, I would not be able to afford that in the States. But here,
okay.
if I'm billing at $75 an hour, which in this, in the States, I would not be able to sustain my life working 10
It's
hours a week off
hours.
a day.
Exactly.
Here, I'm able to do it with ease. So
That
I,
makes
for
sense.
people, you just have to decide where you're going to go and then
Okay.
figure out what the laws and requirements are. The other part for me, I did take a sabbatical. I did not come with a job, which is not recommended. But I
Okay.
was so tied up and fed up. I don't think I could have properly transitioned while working.
Oh, you know what? That is so true. Let me tell you why.
Mhm,
Um, so after I left that company I told you about, I got another company as a project. I got another job as a project manager, right, with a whole different company. Like treated, I had the same rights as senior leadership, right? Own office, everything, highly respected. But when I tell you, I was in my office crying because I couldn't think, I
mhm,
couldn't remember. I couldn't rationalize through simple concepts they were trying to teach me. And I had a boss that was really like what I found out. You go somewhere else, I was saying he was like so impatient. I'm like, dude, I've been here 2 weeks. Like, no, I told you the industry I came from, which is totally different. And I never forget crying to my friend on the phone. I said, I can't think. I said, my brain is so foggy and messed up, and I understood the imposter syndrome. I understood psychological safety. I understood like abuse, right? Like mental abuse. I'm like, those folks abuse me. And
mhm,
it's not something I'm making up. Like, this was a really bad relationship. Like, horribly bad, and I can't function. Like, so for you to say you took a sabbatical is probably the healthiest and wisest thing you could ever do. Like,
mhm.
that was clutch. So how did you heal during that sabbatical?
Well, I'm still healing,
Yeah.
and I think now I'm planning another sabbatical because I'm like, I told my friends, I was like, my sabbatical was not sabbaticing because I had so much
So,
going on.
yeah.
I was moving, getting my kids settled, and my kids decided that they no longer wanted to stay. So I
Really.
had to make a decision like, do I make them stay and we're all miserable, or do they go back? So that was a whole transition to then reach out to my ex-husband who didn't want them to come in the first place and be like, hey, now they want to come back, you
Really.
know? So that was a huge transition all through my sabbatical. So
Mm,
imagine working on top of that, right?
wow,
Trying to
that's
find an
nice.
apartment, trying to learn the language, trying to figure out your legal documents. Like it was just a lot. So all of that happened throughout that time.
Mm,
But once my kids went back, they were in school. I had visited Atlanta a few times. I came back, and then I realized my life is nothing that I planned for. Like now
wow.
I'm an empty nester. Like what do I do with my life now? Because I had made this huge plan
Okay.
and it included my life to be a certain way, and it's not that. So that goes back to top of the hour.
Mm.
flow, let it go.
Let it
So
go.
that's when I began releasing the ideas. And then even with me getting back into working and becoming a consultant, I got that job in 30 days. I wasn't even trying. I
Let
wasn't
me I
trying.
love that story. I be trying.
I was
Wow.
work. So the first part of that was just my initial sabbatical, I would say, was me finally releasing all of the pieces of my old life.
Really? That
Mhm,
is so deep. Okay, and you're gonna take another sabbatical. See, you live in a dream, and I know it's hard, right? I know it hasn't been easy, and it sounds so idealistic.
mhm.
So, how do you persevere through all of this? How do you persevere?
I would say, and this is also a tip for anybody, is seek out before you go mental health resources before you even touch down.
Mm.
So I do have a
You can
Black
talk about that.
therapist based in Mexico. She's been in Mexico for 20 years. She's a
What?
therapist, psychiatrist, life coach, like it is and is the business.
It's really.
Yes.
Does she
So I'm
speak Spanish? I'm so cliche, huh? That is
English.
so cool.
No, she a sister. She a sister. But she's
Really?
been here for 20 years, so
Mm,
she does speak Spanish. So that was important. So having like my mental health resources
oh,
and plan put in place um ahead of time was so important for me.
wow. Shakira, you like you don't not understand how I know you went through a lot, right? And I know you're still healing from it. But you are healing so many black women, so many mothers, and so many daughters. Like,
Mhm.
I never even thought about having a mental health specialist when
Mhm.
you get there to help you heal. Like, duh. Like, it would seem like it's just like, duh, but that is
Yeah.
powerful.
If you can
Oh,
It was right on the list with me finding a doctor and making sure that my I can find my blood pressure. I need somebody to help me with my brain because I'm
oh,
about to flip my life upside down and walk into something that I don't know anybody that's ever done this. I don't have anybody I can relate to 100% outside of other people that I'm meeting on the internet. That was another reason why I was so intentional on creating community with people that have been here a long time. I needed that. Those are the type of mindsets that I needed to connect with. So I knew that I would have a lot of undoing. And as I mentioned, something that I've been talking about and I'm still experiencing now, like making the decision and agreeing when my children say, no, I want to finish school in the US,
mm,
making that decision, the hardest. And
how
I
do you
needed
deal with
help.
it? How do
I'm still getting through that. Some days are
you,
good, some are, ugly Tyler Perry crying down the wall, but
wow,
I know that, we understand or live life in hindsight or understand life backwards. My children are going to be appreciative. I am a very much so a more present mom to them now. Uh,
really?
yeah, because I'm not stressed all the time.
Yeah. So
Like
do they come to visit?
They do, and I visit them a lot.
Okay,
My son plays football. What's the football schedule? And like the entire month of September, I'm gonna be in Georgia. I get
really?
that flexibility in my life. So I have that flexibility now.
Mm,
I'm not juggling these things.
okay,
Um, but yeah, so just on the journey of healing. And then the other thing I would say for your original question is finding routine. That was so important.
okay, really?
Before it was yoga because that's all, like, I could
It was
physically.
hot, huh?
Yeah, that was it, but it was so good to, like, stretch my body and, um, just be able to release a lot of the tension and trauma that was in my body. That's all I had the
Really?
energy to do. Then I started riding a bike. That gave me joy. When I say
Really?
joy, getting on that bicycle, letting the wind flow through my hair. For those of
I
you
see
listening,
it.
no hair, but
I see it. I see it. I see it.
it was like
Yeah.
joy to get on this bicycle. So just riding a bicycle through the city to go
That
to the
is
grocery store,
fun.
to go to yoga, like that was just like freeing to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, it was just so freeing.
Mm,
Um, but now I go to Pilates 2, maybe 3 times a week. Um, And I just have a routine. Like, I do wake up
Mhm.
whenever I wanna wake up, but I know, like, I'm gonna water my plants, I'm
Mhm.
gonna take a walk, I'm gonna go to Pilates. These are the hours that I wanna work. I still
Okay.
make my to-do list, but it's not as extensive as it used to be.
Okay.
Um, it may just be 3 items, like,
Mhm.
I have something that I'm just not lingering. And then some days I do absolutely nothing, and
Nothing.
I enjoy doing I say days, sometimes it'd be a week, sometimes it'd be 2 weeks.
That's it. That's it.
Nothing. When I
Oh, I
say
love it.
nothing, I don't
Nothing.
do nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing at all.
Wow. I look and truly you're designing with ease. Oh my God. I love what position does your son play?
He is running back.
Really? Okay, so my son is a lineman. Right guard, left guard, one of them guard.
Boy.
Big dude. And like, and he trying to lose weight, but it's like, I'm like, dude, you're not. He's like coming slimming, right? But it's not shedding. And he just a big dude. I'm like, all right, dude, be you, boo. Like, be
Yeah.
the big one and just stand there, dude. Don't let him knock you down. Now. I'm one of those mamas. Don't let him knock you down. You better knock them down. So
Yeah.
I know that's fun. So we've been talking a long time. I don't want to hold you up. So this is my last question.
Mhm.
Unless you got something else to tell us. Do you have any something else? Oh, do
I'm
you have any upcoming events? I know you had a designer for the shirt last time. Any of I love it. I love it. Any upcoming events, anything that you're doing that we should be aware of?
And no, the t-shirt is still there. So at speechtherapytees.com, it is a collaboration with a small business owner, Black woman, who is planning her Blaxit from the US.
Oh,
So all of the proceeds, I keep nothing. So with every shirt sold, it goes to her and it is funding her life so that she can move abroad. So please
mm,
purchase the shirts. Use code EASE15. You'll get 15% off your purchase. But yeah, all of the proceeds go to her as she plans her transition.
oh wow.
Um, I do have my YouTube channel and I'm posting more and just showing people how I am living and experiencing ease. But that's it for now, for me. And I think that that's good. And I've been thinking about it. I was like, I think this is a good pace and a good opportunity for me to kind of slow down a bit and just receive, smell my roses. That's what I want to say. Before I was so used to just hopping to the next project. But in this season of my life, I am learning to just smell the roses because I've come off the heels of a lot of amazing things. So I just want to sit in the love that I've been receiving.
Oh, I love that. Oh, that is powerful. So I
Mhm.
heard Shannon Sharp on his show, Club Shay Shay. Maybe he'll have me on one day. Shannon, please have me on your show.
Please.
I would love to sit on the couch. I even drink the cognac. Let me and I know I'm a weak drinker, right? I'm like, I'm a wimp. But hey, let me have the cognac. I'll be on your show. So hopefully he'll see this. We can both go on there, right? Oh my God.
Yes.
Let's do it. We're speaking that into existence. And he asked his guests, if we have this same show in 5 years, what will you be saying in 5 years?
Oh, wow. That's powerful. Um, that's so powerful. And it's rare that I'm
Mhm.
speechless. But in 5 years, uh, I'll be fluent in Spanish.
Mm.
I would still be living abroad. I would have more ease. At that time, I would have coached and taught thousands of other Black women how to plan their ease and design their life of ease. At that time, if I had not completed, but be in the process of becoming a doctor,
Mhm.
studying burnout and the impact that it has on Black women to further support why it's so important for them to design ease in their lives and how to release the notion of corporate America. So that's something I'm very passionate about. Um, yeah, and I will be a professor at somebody's college.
I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh.
All online, of course, all online.
I got you on that. I got you. Let me know. I got to connect on that. I got to connect on that. And it's funny because I was talking with someone like earlier this week, And they were like doing, I wanted like I was trying to get a contract, right? Like, oh no, we need you in the office. I'm like, no, I don't do that. I only do remote. I'm like, gas money, clothes every day. I'm like, it's talking all day. Y'all looking at me, me looking at y'all. Like, I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, nah, I don't do that. Nah. And they like, what you know? No, no. I know your culture. I know what you're gonna say. I can't do it. So I'm with you on all. I mean, everything's online, right? So yeah, you'll be an online professor. And I really, I just, what's that? I second that for you.
Mhm.
And I think that's awesome. Like I told another guest, so when we do this in 5 years, I'll be in Portugal. So either you can fly to Portugal and like be with me and we'll have it in person at a cafe, or we could do it again, of course, online. Whatever we want in our schedules with our retired, chill out, design and ease life.
Yeah.
So thank you for what you're doing. Oh, I know this. I know this. Hold on. Me llamo is Ines in Espanol.
Mhm.
Um, what's your name in Espanol?
Shakira.
Shakira. Really in Espanol? Oh, sí, sí, señorita.
Yeah.
Buenos noches.
Right.
That,
Buenas noches.
that's my 3 years of high school Spanish. Those are the two phrases I know. So
I stay spangling, but I get it done. Like I
I
said, I'm
get
committed
it.
to the process. I have a tutor, and it's getting better.
It's getting better. I'm so happy for you. I'm so proud of you. Thank you so much for joining the show today. And I just look forward to your journey and where it takes you. And I love your healing process. So it is a process. And so we as Black women really need to take time to heal. We
Mhm.
really do because it's a lot that they packed on us and we packed on ourselves as well, right? So thank you, Shakira, for being here. Thank you for designing your life with ease. Audience, we are out of here. I just want to say thank you so much for joining us. I want to thank my guests for being here. This was a true amazing treat. And I hope that you really, really take the time to have a life of ease and enjoyment because this life is more than just making money, being in the grind of life. There's more to life. So do me a favor, share, like, and follow. Share this with a woman, especially a Black woman that you know needs this message, that needs to have a life of ease and find a different way because there is a different way out there. But until we meet next time, have a great, great day and enjoy the ease. Enjoy the ease, my friends. We'll talk soon, audience. Bye for now.
Bye.